Today Mickey continues speaking to singles in his 10th video for this section of our family series. Welcome to Swordbox Ministries. Our verse for the day is John 10:10. The thief does not come except to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I have come, that they may have life, and that they may have it more abundantly.
Well, welcome back. One big issue facing young singles today is the temptation that's out there to live together. Shacking up, playing house, testing the waters, call it what you will. God calls it sin. In 1960, less than 500,000 unmarried couples were living together in the United States. In fact, in many states it was illegal to do so. But by the year 2000, that number had increased to 4,500,000. We've talked about marriage. We've talked about God's design for family. We've talked about kids and the importance of growing up with mom and dad. But you can count on this. When God's way is rejected, the devil has a plan to twist, to mock, and to oppose God's design. And living together is just that. If God means nothing to you, and His standards and principles mean nothing to you, then you're lost in sin. You need Jesus Christ. But if you know Jesus, if you've been born again, if you belong to Him, and you have moved in with your boyfriend or girlfriend, let me encourage you, leave today. Leave right now. You have put yourself at odds with the living God. The Bible says friendship with the world is enmity with God. This doesn't mean you can't have lost friends, but you can't live like them and have fellowship with Jesus Christ at the same time. You're in rebellion and you're walking after the flesh. And Romans 8:8 says, we cannot please God when we are in the flesh. Living together is Satan's counterfeit to God's plan. Remember, Satan only comes to kill, to steal, and to destroy. If it's not God's plan, then it's the devil's. And kill, steal, and destroy is exactly what he will do if we choose to reject God's way. To put yourself in that place is to open yourself up to attacks from the enemy. Can a Christian get off into this kind of sin? You bet he can. Over and over throughout scriptures, believers are warned against sin. Why? Because we're told that sin so easily entangles us. One big problem with many Christians is that we simply forget or don't realize that we are in a war. We have been given spiritual armor for a reason, because we're in a battle, not with people, but as Paul says, against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Ephesians 6:12. Young singles, you need to know that you are in a war. Back in January we did a series on Samson. He was a Nazarite, set apart by God, judge of Israel, and given supernatural strength by the Spirit of God. He was a single man. He was married briefly, his wife murdered, single again, and allowed himself to be ruled by his desires. I believe he was living with Delilah at the time. He was living in sin and opened up to constant attacks by the enemy. And ultimately, this destroyed him. His eyes were gouged out, his freedom was lost, and his strength was gone. Reduced to a blind man grinding in a prison, the devil never changes. He always wants to steal, kill, and destroy, and especially from those who are believers. It looks so appealing in the beginning. It may seem right. It may have temporary pleasure and benefits, but it doesn't last. Sin entices us. It draws us in, but it simply cannot deliver on the advertisement. Singles move in together thinking they will just see if they can be married to this person. Yet it's not the same. Trying on a football helmet doesn't make you an NFL football player. And living together is not the same as marriage. Marriage, as we talked about, isn't simply a document signed by a judge. It's a contract and a covenant signed by God. God joins the two together, and the two become one flesh. Well, I want to continue talking about the specific subject tomorrow. We'll pick up right here where we left off. God bless you. We'll see you back here.